WMAQ TV, Chicago. Live on 5, from Chicago's News Center, Channel 5, the 10 o'clock news with Ron Majors and Linda Yu.
Good evening. The danger is apparently over tonight in the area around the Calumet Container Corporation. That's along the border between Chicago and Hammond, Indiana. It was the scene of an explosion and fire involving toxic chemicals. Dick Kay has the latest in a live report from the scene. Dick?
Ron, that's correct. That's a drum and container recycling corporation. We've just been told by Illinois environmental officials that they found no detectable levels of toxicity. Most of the people who were evacuated earlier this afternoon from a mobile home park have already returned to their homes, and Chicago police now say those that haven't might do so voluntarily. Actually, Hammond, Indiana firemen are going to stay on the scene to make sure there are no further hot spots here. The fire broke out around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Residents of the area said they saw thick smoke coming from the Calumet container site before the flames broke out. Firemen said when they arrived, the southwest part of the building was totally involved in flames. The fire might have started near the incinerator, but all of the employees disappeared, and officials still have not been able to question any of them. The fire sent thick black smoke pluming directly into a mobile home park just across the state line in Chicago's Hegewisch neighborhood. Because this firm handles all kinds of chemical and solvent waste, no one knew what was in the smoke. Officials recommended the evacuation of the mobile home park, particularly those people who had respiratory problems. Chicago police went through the area warning residents of the dangers, and most of them left. Hammond Air Pollution Control Director Ron Novak explained what kinds of chemicals could have been involved in the smoke to make it very toxic.
Arsenic, cadmium, lead, zinc, and various solvents such as xylene. And all those materials are to be kept a very close eye on, especially in the presence of fire, and materials that would transport them, like the smoke from the fire, beyond the premises and become airborne.
Some of the residents went to nearby St. Florian's Church in Hegewisch. Tonight they expressed some anger that such conditions could exist so long and create a situation that would force them from their homes. Does it make you angry that it's been going on?
Real angry, yeah, real angry. Because they have no business being there where people are living, really. Yeah.
And you had to leave your home?
Yeah. I didn't want to, but he said I had to.
It looks like a junk heap even when it was open. I mean, it's all slop, and they got gullies that are part of the swamp there, and the ones right near this place are all, you can tell the water has some chemicals or something in it.
Officials said it might be some time before they can determine the cause of the fire. They were not letting firemen into the premises without breathing apparatus. Now there is another problem: how to keep the runoff water from fighting the blaze, from running into nearby Powderhorn and Wolf Lakes and possibly polluting that water. As a matter of fact, this same corporation has been the subject of numerous federal and state lawsuits trying to force some kind of cleanup. Well, now the Hammond Building Commissioner says he's going to take care of that. Tomorrow he's going to ask for an emergency demolition order and ask that this structure and this facility, as a hazard to the community, be taken to the ground immediately. Linda?
All right, thank you very much, Dick. We'll follow up on that tomorrow. A survivor of last week's Klein Avenue ramp collapse in East Chicago, Indiana, has told Channel 5 News there wasn't enough support for the roadbed, which had collapsed, killing 12 of his fellow workers. Channel 5's Stephen Ray has an exclusive interview.
I don't know if it was the flat piece that went down or was the angle piece that went down, but I just felt the floor go straight down under me, and the people that was in front of me, all the laborers in front of me, they got killed.
Harry Bunkoff says the hand of God saved him. He survived the collapse with a deep head wound, a dislocated thumb, severe bumps and bruises. Bunkoff was 60 feet in the air, pouring concrete on the Klein Avenue ramp when it collapsed.
I felt the floor go down, and then I heard the scaffold. I heard noise, after that. You just feel like you ever watch one of them movies on TV, the earthquakes? It reminds you of something like that. You see somebody, animals falling down. That's what it reminded me of. But I knew I was going to be all right. And I know the Lord had his hands on us. That's all because I witness every day to these guys. And it's a shame to see them all go. And someone didn't have the Lord in their heart, you know. Yeah. But the Lord was with me. I'm here. I'm alive. I praise the Lord for it.
Most of the workers who fell with Bunkoffs on the first span to collapse died. Minutes later, 2 more sections collapsed, hurling more workers to the ground. A total of 12 bodies were found in the rubble, the worst construction accident in Indiana history. Bunkoff says he will not go back to work on the ramp project if the same method of construction is used.
Did you think it was unsafe when you went on the job there?
After we started building it, yes.
Why?
They just got to, I told you before.
Yeah.
It wasn't supported right.
Bunkoffs would not be specific on possible causes of the accident, but investigators are zeroing in on the scaffolding used to hold the weight of the roadbed while the concrete was poured. One survivor filed a $15 million lawsuit charging, in part, that guy wires used to support scaffolding were not properly affixed. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., there will be a special mass for the victims of the Klein Avenue collapse at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in East Chicago. By that time, Harry Bunkoffs hopes to be home with wife Debbie and their 7-year-old child. Stephen Ray, Channel 5 News.
Commonwealth Edison will not be allowed to raise its prices for electricity next month. The Illinois Commerce Commission today ordered a freeze of the company's fuel adjustment clause. That clause allowed ComEd to pass increases in oil prices along to consumers. But the Commerce Commission today announced it is investigating whether ComEd did all it could to buy oil at the lowest competitive price. The freeze will stop a 5% increase for residential users and a 9% increase for large industrial users. ComEd officials would not comment, they say, until they see the official freeze order.
A 14-year-old girl with asthma is dead after climbing 8 flights of stairs at a housing project. And as Channel 5's Rich Samuels reports, her family and her friends blame the CHA for her death.
If she didn't have to walk up the stairs...
Dale Davis believes that if an elevator in a CHA building had been working properly Monday, Aretha Davis, her daughter, and a severe asthmatic would still be alive tonight. The 14-year-old girl was an 8th grader at Douglas School at 32nd and Calumet. She left school at 3:15 Monday and walked 3/4 of a mile to the CHA Stateway Gardens project where her family lives. The elevator was broken. It had been since the weekend. So, Aretha, whose asthma deprived her of her breath, climbed every step from the 1st floor to her 8th floor apartment.
She was out of breath and she just kept using the spray medicine that I gave.
Aretha's mother said the climb caused her daughter to have an asthma attack and that she collapsed early Monday evening. Paramedics who tried to save her also had to climb the stairs because the elevator still wasn't working. By the time Aretha Davis was brought here to Michael Reese Hospital, she was in complete cardiac arrest. She was revived, but yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, she died. Only one elevator was working in Aretha's building this afternoon. In the Stateway Gardens complex, at least 3 elevators today remained out of service, according to the CHA. In the ad Mayor Byrne placed in the papers last week praising CHA management, she told of the CHA's resolve to fight elevator breakdown. The friends of Aretha Davis, her classmates at the Douglas School, believe somehow that fight itself has broken down.
It makes me very sad, and I'm also outraged because I feel that had the elevators, had they been working, perhaps she would be alive today.
It seemed like it was only yesterday when she was here. And if them elevators would have been working Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I believe Aretha would be alive today.
It's not bitter. It's just sad mostly to see my baby gone, and I don't want to see her gone. Nobody can help and nobody can bring her back but God. And I just feel, I'm not bitter, I just feel that they should have been doing a better job than what they're doing with the elevators. That's all I can say.
Rich Samuels, Channel 5 News.
And still to come tonight on Channel 5 News, Israeli jets strike PLO strongholds in Lebanon.
And coming up in just a moment, a Monitor 5 report on a controversial children's vaccine banned in parts of Europe, but required for American school children.
Nearly all of the school children in this country are required to get vaccinations against whooping cough. However, health experts are now divided over the safety and effectiveness of those shots after some children suffered permanent types of damage. In tonight's Monitor 5 report, Barry Kaufman examines the status of the vaccine in other countries around the world and reports on the search for a new, safer vaccine. Barry?
Linda, the pertussis, or whooping cough as it's called, used to keep hospital wards filled with babies, literally turning blue from coughing on end. Many died, many suffered permanent damage. The pertussis vaccine helped change all that. But as one Chicago suburban family has found out, the price of protection may have been agonizingly high.
Let's take your pills.
Heather Clark, age 12, is moderately to severely retarded and has uncontrolled seizures. Heather was born an apparently normal baby.
The first day that Heather had a convulsion, it was after her third DPT shot. She was 5 months old, and a number of hours later she went into her first convulsion, and she didn't come out of it on her own.
Heather's pediatric neurologist believes that the vaccine, by causing a high temperature, may have caused the problem, but he says it can't be proven.
Have you thought about the whooping cough injection?
I have, but I've decided I don't want it.
In Great Britain, despite the prospect of a disease that can cause permanent brain damage and even death, concern over side effects from the vaccine that prevents it prompted more and more parents to refuse pertussis immunizations. In 1974, vaccine usage dropped from 80% to 30%. 4 years later, there was an epidemic. 66,000 cases of whooping cough, 12 deaths. In 1980, vaccine usage was at 40%. 21,200 people got whooping cough, 6 died. Dr. Gordon Stewart, a member of the British government's Committee on the Safety of Medicines.
The death rate in the height of that so-called epidemic, to which a lot of attention has been drawn by your government here, the death rate was the lowest ever. And in Scotland, for example, the hospital admissions continued to fall.
Not everyone agrees with that assessment, and the British government now says the risk of the disease is greater than the risk of the vaccine, but the final decision is left to the parent. In Sweden and in West Germany, the vaccine no longer has government backing. In Japan, parents lost confidence in the vaccine, and a new one was quickly developed and rushed on the market even before it was clinically tested. Federal health officials in this country agree a safer and more effective vaccine is needed. The major problem with the current vaccine is that since it is made of the entire inactivated pertussis bacteria, no one can pinpoint which part of the vaccine may be causing the adverse reactions and which part is conferring immunity.
I don't think this is the type of vaccine that would be produced today. Probably, if this were, if this vaccine were produced in 1980 instead of in the 1930s and 40s, there'd be a different type of technology available, and we would make a more purified vaccine.
Another drawback of the current vaccine is that it doesn't produce immunity in all children who receive it.
The fact that a vaccine is, say, 80% effective means that 4 out of 5 people who receive the vaccine would be protected from whooping cough if they are exposed to it, but 1 would not.
At least 2 major pharmaceutical companies are working on a new vaccine. They will not disclose anything about the progress of their work, but federal officials say it will take 3 to 5 years before a new vaccine could be available. So until something better replaces it, millions of children will continue to receive the current vaccine. In Chicago, health department clinics provide free DPT immunization, and more than 90% of the city's school-aged children have been vaccinated. Deputy Health Commissioner Dr. David McNutt.
I think the pertussis question is an important one. Obviously, it has surfaced importantly in other countries. In this country, however, I have not been aware of a serious problem with the complications that have occurred elsewhere. And in fact, looking at data from Chicago, we do not have any evidence of any untoward effects.
No vaccine is entirely risk-free, even though it's considered routine, even mandatory. That seems to have come as a surprise to many of the concerned parents who've been calling us since our first report last night. Those parents should expect that who is ever giving the vaccine, they should be prepared to discuss with them in an open manner whatever is known about the past possible side effects of the vaccine and the risk of the diseases they're designed to prevent. Ron?
Thank you, Barry. And still to come on the Channel 5 News tonight, Jim Tillman with a bit brighter outlook for this weekend's weather.
The United States tonight is urging restraint in the Middle East. That call comes on the heels of an Israeli air attack on Lebanon, which shattered the 9-month-old ceasefire. Israel says its attack is in retaliation for numerous Lebanese truce violations. Reports from Beirut say 25 people were killed, another 80 injured.
Weather, a pretty day today, but the temperature not up to what we should expect this time of year. However, I understand, Jim, there is hope for the weekend.
Oh, there's great hope for the weekend. We're moving in the right direction, at least. We've got the temperature going up, and it's going to continue to do that run for the next couple of 3 days, and I think you'll be very pleased to see what our weekend's going to look like. First of all, the high today was only 53 degrees. We do, I suppose, have some reason to complain. Our normal high would have been 62. The present temperature is 39 degrees, the humidity 55%, the barometer 30.36, and it has been rising rather steadily. Now let's take a look. First of all, this shows you what's going on at the moment. We do see a lot of clear sky here. Now there's only one area of concern, and that's across Iowa. They do have a few showers out there at this moment, but for the most part, all of the Midwest and the upper Midwest is clear. We have some showers down to the south, also across the southern portion of our nation. If we were to look at a radar picture, we would see that we do have that cluster of activity down to the south going across Louisiana for yet another night. They've had plenty of rain there, and here are just 2 areas of rainfall on our national summary of radars across Iowa. There is a possibility some of that could move toward Chicago, but I'm really not putting it in the forecast because I don't think that's our major concern. The major concern will be frost warnings for all of Indiana for tonight and portions of northern Illinois. Do exercise caution for that. A few clouds tonight and cold, a low of 33 degrees, west winds at 5 miles an hour. For tomorrow, the winds will be more out of the west and will be quite gentle. A high pressure will be moving in. That'll give us plenty of sunshine and a gradual warming starting tomorrow with sunny and warmer, a high of 55 degrees. And then for the weekend, look forward to more of that high pressure sunshine. And now we'll be on the backside of the high, getting that warm, moist air out of the south. We'll have a cloud or two, but for the most part, it'll be sunny and warmer. Temperatures not only in the 60s, but right now I'm looking forward to temperatures near 70 by Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. So I think you're going to like this weekend a whole lot.
Thank you.
I realize we've been moving in the right direction. We've just been moving too long.
But it sounds wonderful. And coming up next, a story about how honesty doesn't pay off for at least one man. And Chet Kopic will have the Blackhawk highlights. Chet Kopic is here with all the sports, and it's another very close game so far for the Hawks.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm smiling about. We're kind of going south tonight, if you know what I mean. All right, good evening, everybody. There have got to be some long faces in the White Sox clubhouse tonight. Final at Comiskey Park. The Yankees won, the White Sox nothing. Sparkling White Sox defense. Yankee half of number 2. The blast by Revering, the stop by Bernazard, the flip to Allman, the relay to Pashorek. White Sox out of the jam. The only run of the ball game. Willie Randolph, the hot shot over first base, out into right field. Cerrone came around to score. The Yankees go on to win 1-0. White Sox defensively again. Hickey facing Revering. The blast out to Allman. He flips over to Tony. Downtown to Pashorek. But tonight the story is that guy on the mound. Louisiana Lightning, Ragin' Cajun, Ron
It is
Guidry.
still quite probably the most majestic uniform in all of sports. Emblazoned, the blue with the gray, the Yankee pinstripes. Is it really true that when a guy puts on those pinstripes, all of a sudden he's a different man?
Well, I don't go that far. What I do say is that certain players perform better under pressure. Certain players, I mean, we're playing in front of an average of 30,000 people a game. I think the incentive is there always. You know, if you do well in New York, you're going to be known.
Now, bad news at Shea Stadium. Cubs dropped to 5-9. They're beaten by the Mets tonight 7-4. Bill Buckner did homer for the Cubbies. Steve Carlton is now 0-4. Montreal topped Philadelphia 5-2. Cardinals over the Pirates. Atlanta got 2 in the 9th down in Atlanta, GA. They've now won 13 in a row. Over in the American League, it's a big night for the Underwoods. Pat Underwood beat Kansas City. Meanwhile, Tom Underwood beat the Minnesota Twins for Billy Martin in Oakland. The O's lose again, falling to Boston 6-5. Milwaukee got by Toronto. Texas on top of Cleveland 4-2 in the 9th inning. Now, what about Stanley Cup hockey? Blackhawks tonight trying to close out Emile Francis and the St. Louis Blues. Game is even at 2 late in the 3rd period. We're early in number 1. The drive from the point, that's Dennis Savard right in front of Mike Liute. He got the tip in. Blackhawks led 1-0. Now in the 2nd period, game even at 1. Patterson in between the face-off circles beat Murray Bannerman. The Blues led 2-1. There's the drive by Grant Mulvey that tied the game up at 2. Blackhawks win that when they advance to the conference final. Herb Brooks and the New York Rangers are still alive. They beat the New York Islanders tonight, final 4-2. Let's go out to the east and pick up the action beginning in the 2nd period.
The Rangers put on a 3-man rush with Eddie Johnstone moving down the rink with the puck, passing it to Robbie Fatorik, who moved it to Don Maloney on the left side.
Don shoots and beats Billy Smith with a drive in the top right corner of the net as the Rangers go ahead 2-1. 2 minutes later at 3:24, Dave Silk got the puck as Dave Langevin fell down, skates in and shoots, gets his own rebound and flips it over Smith for a 3-1 Ranger lead.
And the Rangers go on to win by 2. The Nordiques now lead Boston 3-2. LA's on top of Vancouver early. NBA playoff basketball, Philly clobbered Atlanta tonight. You remember Ron Luciano, the former AL umpire? He was in town to plug his book tonight and told us that, yes, he misses the balls and strikes.
You know, I never thought I would. How could you miss people kicking dirt on you, right? How can you miss ball players calling you dirty names? And I miss it so much, you can't believe it. I miss the gossip. I'm basically a gossip. And Goose Gossage is on the mound, and he's got his head down. I run over and I say, Goose, what's the matter? He won't let me throw the curveball. I said, who won't? Who won't? He said, Cerrone. I got to wait till the half inning. I run into Cerrone. And I said, what happened? What happened? Goose wants to throw the curveball. And it's just, I miss that little insight.
Think the man likes to talk?
I think he
Still
almost
2-2.
as much as you.
2-2, third period. More highlights tomorrow. Rich is in St. Louis for a full report.
All right.
All right, Chet, finally the story of a gas war and its first casualty. Just outside Elk Grove Village, Ron's Arco station is selling regular gas for 98 cents a gallon and unleaded only $1 at the self-serve pumps. Now, a nearby Union 76 station is still at $1.35 a gallon. Business is slow. And attendant Mike Tedness had a surprising answer when he was asked, where do you buy your gas?
Cards. Where do you buy your gas? Right across the street at Arco.
Well, just after that admission, Tedness was fired. Now, he's been working part-time to pay for college. He told us this afternoon he's already had another job interview this afternoon. Among his qualifications, we at least would certainly put honesty very high on the list. Good luck, Mike. I hope you find another job.
That's true.
That is the news this Wednesday.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
The Tonight Show is next.